All right, y'all. Hey, what's up, good people? I'm QC. Welcome to another Talking It Grubbin live stream. First off, I want to wish happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Ladies, I hope your mothers is well. Also, to all my male subscribers, make sure you wish your mom, your wife, your grandmother a happy Mother's Day. Hope y'all definitely, them well on on their day. Make sure you spoil them. But tonight we are here for the live stream of part 7 and 8 of The Last Dance. And it's going to get real tonight. Sorry for the late start, had to set up. So we're going to react to some things that's been going on. We're going to find out some things about The Last Dance that we may have not known about, and some things we already knew. Okay, when you come in, make sure you hit the like button. Also, leave your comments here in the chat. Starting off, they show GM Jerry Krause in his interview before the 98 playoffs tip off with the Bulls against the New Jersey Nets. And Krause was being very defensive in his press conference with a reporter about the potential breakup of the Bulls, which he shouldn't have been. In my opinion, because if you ain't got nothing to hide, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Also, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't make it your last. Subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell. And click off so you don't miss any new videos from me. Okay? Now, the Bulls, in game one of their first round series against the Nets, had to go to OT where they survived a 96-93 victory. And you could tell Jordan was, and he kind of looked like Jordan the same way Michael Jordan did in 93 after the Bulls won their third straight championship against the Phoenix Suns. Now, flashing back to 93 when the Bulls finally won the championship against the Phoenix Suns. And Michael was definitely riding high. He was a mega star, global icon. He's recalling about after winning that championship, sitting in the gym with his basketball. And he had thoughts about retiring then. Matter of fact, he heavily entertained the thought of, okay, tell this cycle, you said, I'm gonna be honest, haven't seen the rest of the part. And you also said one story I didn't know about was Phil Jackson, Jerry Krause beef that happened. Oh yeah. Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson were definitely beefing in the last few years. At first, Phil and Jerry Krause were real cool, but Krause definitely started to resent Phil as he was getting more credit. Phil was getting more credit than him for building the team. Well, building the team, its thoughts on James Jordan, Michael Jordan's father. Showing old clips with him and with Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner. And Jordan, his father, they definitely were close. They were very close. That was his best friend. Hey, Fax Nas up, man. How you doing? Man, it's not my fault, man. It's YouTube. Fax is YouTube that's doing this. I apologize, man. If my stream is lagging and having issues, I really apologize. Okay, they're going in on they're reflecting on doing more reflection on James Jordan. Mike, you can tell Mike, Michael about to definitely got emotional here in this interview talking about his father. 9 times out of 10, he definitely cried off camera. And now they're going into, you know, turned up missing back in 93. You know, George Kohler, Jordan's personal assistant, recalled that he was supposed to pick James Jordan up from the airport, but he never showed up. So then he calls Michael Jordan's mom, Mrs. Dolores Jordan, and she thought that he had, that he was playing golf. Hey, now Michael Jordan recalling his father's routine. You know how he would drive down to Wilmington to visit some old friends for a couple of days. You know, then come back. Well, she would talk to him for a little bit. Then he would, return home. But days go by, but nobody had heard from him. And that was pretty unusual. Then they find his car stripped and hidden somewhere in the woods in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And man, that car was just wow. Man, that car was just total like they had stripped it for car parts or something. And also his license plates were missing. So, as soon as they found the car, he wasn't in it. And something definitely was shady. Something definitely was up with that. Okay, who's better in my opinion? Facts. I say KD. T Mac was good, but I gotta take KD there. You know, come on. KD is about like the only dude who's a forward, but has the wingspan of a center. So gotta go with KD there. And now they're showing in August of 1993 that Michael Jordan's father, James Jordan, in a creek somewhere in the Carolinas. Okay, and then you basically and they're telling how everything unfolded. That he had pulled off. He was driving late at night. He got tired, so he decided to just pull over on the side of the road to take a little nap. So he wouldn't. end up falling asleep at the wheel and getting into a car accident. These two 18-year-old men came up on him, robbed him, and killed him. They're also showing Jordan coming back home, to be with his family, to grieve, also plan the arrangements and attend the service. Now, nobody knows the true motive behind the murder. A lot of people speculate at that time. As a matter of fact, people still speculate to this day that, James Jordan's murder was tied to Michael Jordan, Jordan's gambling debts. I don't think that's true, but a lot of people still speculate that because everybody knows during that time, through that third championship, that Jordan's gambling issues were heavily talked about in the media. And Jordan also ended up paying money to some. I don't know. I don't know if, you know, excuse me, if his gambling debts were the motivation to his murder. And I'm not going to sit up and say that they were, but I'm just saying people speculate. Eli, what's up, man? How you doing? Facts. You asked me who do I got winning the championship if the season continues this season. Oh man, that's a tough one. Right now, I would say, I wouldn't have a clear cut. I say it's a 4-team race. It's between the Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, and I definitely gotta put the Raptors in there. Can't sleep on the Raptors. The Raptors, they were doing a hell of a job. Before the season shut down, man. Nick Nurse, I was saying this in previous live streams. Nick Nurse should definitely be a coach of the year candidate, if not the coach of the year. What he was doing with that team without Kawhi, that was a hell of a job by him. Okay, you say Lakers, but yeah. So to me, it would be a 14 race. Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, Raptors. Any of those four teams can win. Okay, and Michael's reflecting on how he was trying to take his father's passing and turn it into something positive. Excuse me. And you know what? The media was kind of wrong for just bringing that out. George gambling issue, especially when he and his family had just got done burying his father. That was that was crass, man. That was a crass move right there. They shouldn't have brought up George gambling issues during that time. Definitely shouldn't have mentioned it at that time. And especially kind of blaming him for his. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, facts. You right. Raptors were definitely going off, and they were on a big winning for the season shut down. Man, Elop, man, it's YouTube. It's YouTube that's having me lag. It's not me, man. Okay, facts. You said Nets have a chance because KD and Kyrie getting healthier because of the outbreak. Yeah, well, you know, from what I read on Twitter, A lot of NBA reports have a really good chance to win it all, but not this year. Okay, facts. You said, yo, bro, yeah, I might look at. Yeah, I might look up. I might look up Twitch facts. Okay, you can just tell with just everything. You can just tell Michael Jordan was just drained here mentally, physically, emotionally, and he just wanted to just get out. And I think he definitely had his mind made up about retiring long before that Phoenix series. In my opinion, story about when Michael Jordan came to him and said that he wanted to retire. He didn't want to believe. He didn't believe him at first. Well, thanks for giving me the idea for Twitch, fellas. I thank y'all. He had no challenges. He had no motivation. So he just wanted to walk away. Just wanted to walk away from the game. And Phil Jackson and the Bulls organization were very supportive of Michael's decision. Now they're showing Michael Jordan throwing the first pitch out at the ALCS at Comiskey Park, which is now called Guarantee Field. Okay, Michael Jordan, was hanging out watching the game with his family. Okay, now Jerry Krause is recalling when he met with Jerry Krause, telling him that Michael Jordan was about to retire, and he thought, it was a joke that Michael was retired. Michael was for real. So they were trying to hold the story until the next day, but somehow it got leaked out. 9 times out of 10, it was somebody within the Bulls organization who leaked it to Pat O'Brien, who was, being the sideline reporter for CBS during the ALCS at that time. Somebody in the Bulls organization or somebody within Michael's camp leaked it out to the press that Michael was about to retire. So it was a hell of a frenzy at Comiskey Park as Michael Jordan was, leaving the box to go home and get ready for his press conference that next day. Look. I apologize for these technical issues, y'all. It's YouTube. It's not me. Hey, Elop, you said about the championship. You said either Lakers, Raptors, or Bucks, and you also said, okay, you said Lakers all day. No. Sorry about this, y'all. Sorry about that, y'all. Had to get my grub. I'm grubbing on this salad tonight. Now, Michael Jordan has his press conference to announce that he's retiring from basketball, and there's thousands of reporters and cameramen from all over the world covering this event. They had the red carpet rolled out like it was a Hollywood premiere. Jerry Reinsdorf is giving his thoughts on Michael Jordan's retirement. Okay, Michael's giving his thought, giving his comments at this press conference for his retirement. And Jordan's father's death really, I think, really pushed him to retire in '93. Okay, Jordan said, and you know a lot, and also a lot of NBA players were very happy at that time Jordan retired because now a lot of them looked at it like, hey, we have a chance to win a championship now. And a lot of people were still wondering why Michael retired so suddenly. And some people think that Michael Jordan left, retired. He was ashamed, embarrassed of all the gambling issues were coming out at the time. A lot of people felt that, well, suspended them and told them to just, take a hiatus. Saying is basically saying he doesn't believe, because why would he want Jordan retire, and him being on one, and also being on the rocks, one of the most rock star teams in the NBA, would devalue the NBA or not being one of the best teams in the league. So a lot of people still speculate that to this day. Okay, now here's the late David Stern side of it. And this is basically Dave Rue that he took, you know, take a hiatus for a couple of years and then come back. Cause like I said, like one of the other people that in the interview said, why would he want, you know, the league's moneymaker to step down? The NBA just a little bit. And Michael Jordan saying that it's not true that the NBA told him to just walk away and take some time off. Like I said, I don't know if it's true or not true, but it still makes good for debates to this day, almost 30 years later. Also, y'all stay tuned at 11. Well, about 11:10. I'm going to be doing my live recap of The Last Dance with Jay Moore reviews. So y'all stay tuned for that. Okay, now they're showing Michael Jordan in baseball, playing baseball, as he was signed by the Chicago White Sox. Now, as y'all all know, that Michael Jordan ended up playing in the Chicago White Sox minor league. I'm a TV down a little. Okay, showing Michael Jordan signing his deal with the Chicago White Sox. He decided to play baseball because that was his dad's. Okay, people are still giving their speculations on whether Jordan retired on his own terms or was he told by David Stern to retire. Also, the perspective on, Jordan's perspective on his father's tragic murder. Okay, now they're going back to the 98 season, 98 playoffs, and Michael Jordan's talking trash to Scott Burrell. And you know, a lot of people said at that time, Michael Jordan constantly picked on Burrell. You know, that was a guy he constantly picked on in practice. And you know, Scott Burrell was basically a nice, you know, real nice guy. And he thought, you know, and you know, Michael said he wanted Burrell to just, you know, to fight him, not fist fight him, but you know, fight him far as you know, basketball wise, compete, you know, compete with, you know, compete against him. But you know, that's just one Scott's nature. And that didn't make him a punk. And he's recalling, you know, that experience with Jordan at the time. And you know, Bill Jackson talks about how, you know, how Jordan would constantly be in teammates' face and riding them, and he would have to tell him to, you know, reel it in a little bit because, you know, we all still had to be a part of the team camaraderie, which is true. You know, yeah, you could have that leadership. Yeah, you could get on people and you want the best out of them, but guess what? You can't go overboard. You gotta know when to balance it, you know, and feels right about that. You gotta balance it. Ridiculing teammates. And you know, he's saying, well, you gotta get on the same level with me. Bruh, ain't nobody gonna be on the same, never gonna be on the same level as Michael Jordan. Come on. And even Phil knew that he could that people wouldn't okay, they're talking to Will Purdue, and Will Purdue saying that he was a jerk, he was an a-hole, he was an asshole. But you know what? And I gotta agree with my dude Too Raw for TV on this. He said this on one of his videos, and also, we collabed on the live stream recap following the first two parts of this documentary. He said, you know, that players who get that type of treatment, they become mentally tougher. And in some ways, that's definitely true because you take all that ridicule and all that um bashing, you start to ignore it. You just start to that it also motivates you to be better, also makes you focus more. It makes it easier to ignore because also Larry Bird had was similar with did a similar thing to his teammates back in the day. Nobody hardly talks about it. Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. You know, like Michael was saying, well, I want everybody to get on the same level as me. Guess what? Nobody will ever be on the same level as you because you're the only one who can one of the few people in that stratosphere who can accomplish those type of goals. But you can help guys get there, but they will never be at the same level as you. And also, nobody can ever be at a level, at the level of a Michael Jordan or Kobe, LeBron, Bird, Magic. That's unrealistic. There's only a select few of players who can get up into that orbit. Very few. And that's what makes those type of players special. So what are y'all thoughts on this, this documentary so far? What do y'all think about Michael Jordan's comments? Leave them all in the chat. Leave them all in the chat. Okay, in the next 15 minutes, part 8, well, episode 8 of The Last Dance is coming up for the live recap live stream. State Farm. Okay, now a lot of people have criticized because a lot of people feel, well, if you have the right kind of players, you can run the triangle. And also, when you don't have the right players, it's easy to defend. Now they're talking about the Bulls, in life without Michael. And Scottie Pippen was basically the man in that 93-94 season. Some people thought the Bulls were going to struggle without Scottie Pippen. Pippen being the star. And they focused more on passing the ball more while Mike was gone. And Scottie Pippen definitely stepped up and shined. Also, Tony Kukoc, who they got from Croatia, who Michael and Scottie were just mean as hell to in the 92 Olympics. He started, coming into his own with the Bulls. And he definitely proved to Scottie and everybody else on the Bulls that he can transfer well into the NBA. And he was a hell of a shooter. He was a great Kukoc was a great shooter. And he definitely made a great six man on the last three. And Phil was definitely hard on Kukoc. and wanted his best effort out of him. Cage Eastern Conference first round 3-0. Then they moved on to play the New York Knicks in the second round. And the Bulls definitely thought they had a shot to make the NBA Finals that year. Scottie should have definitely been heavily considered in MVP consideration. Too bad he wasn't. Okay, now here in the second round against the Knicks, the Bulls were already trailing 2-0. Okay, and the Knicks ended up tying the game with 2 seconds left here in the game. So Phil run a play, to win the game. Now, you know, Scottie Pippen thinks that Phil Jackson's going to run a play for him to where he's going to score the go ahead, the game winner. But Phil Jackson sets up the play for Tony Kukoc to, take the game winning shot. And Tony Kukoc ends up hitting the buzzer beater. This is my team, right? Not Kukoc. So he felt that the ball should be inbounded to him instead of him inbounding the ball. And Scottie had a hell of a season. Man, why he did not get more consideration for MVP? I still can't figure that out. And Scottie Pippen, refused to go into the game because of that play. Wow. And a lot of his teammates couldn't believe it. Like Horace Grant saying, it felt like something out of the Twilight Zone. And Scottie basically said that he was not going to play, go into the game for the final seconds. Wow. Now that was a hell of a shot by Tony Kukoc, but that was kind of an insult for Phil Jackson to run a play for Kukoc instead of Scottie. He could have at least made Scottie the first option on the play, and if say the Knicks come in and double team him, then kick it out to Kukoc. But to just run a play for Tony Kukoc and not your star player who got you to this point and who's having an MVP caliber season, that is insult. That's cold. That was kind of cold on Phil's part. Manny, what's up, man? Manny, I can't show the documentary because because of copyright restrictions. If I show the documentary, then my channel could be shut down. Well, could either be shut down or I wouldn't be able to live stream for months. So I'm just giving my commentary on this documentary as everything is unfolding. Now, a lot of people on the Bulls, including Steve Kerr, felt that Scotty quit on the team by not going in on that play. But Phil still should have at least gave Scotty a chance to win the game. You don't take that away from your star player. That's something you definitely don't do. You don't take that opportunity away from your star. At least give him a chance. Now, if they're, double teaming him, or as I like to say, tilting the floor his way, basically most of the defense is in, his direction, then okay. Then you start, but not even give Scotty an opportunity to win. That was wrong. And Bill Cartwright was pretty hurt by Scottie Pippen's action. He felt like he let the team down to the point where he just started crying. Effective on that game. And he made a mistake by not going in on the last play of that he realized it was more about his ego and not him. And I think that was the start of Scotty's breaking point of one out of Chicago. Okay, Michael Jordan, recalls talking to Phil Jackson the next day after that, saying he doesn't know if Scotty will be able to live that down, that this may come back to haunt him. And Scotty's talking about his, you know, it's talking about maybe, maybe in hindsight, looking back on it, he kind of regrets it, but he says he wouldn't like, well, hey, me being out there we still won the game and got us back in the series. Now, as y'all all know, the Bulls were going to lose that series in 7 games due to a bad call. Well, no, I'm not gonna say bad. I'm gonna say more of a questionable call. And Michael Jordan is now recalling on his leadership style, on how he may have handled things, and basically felt like, hey, basically saying that you got to get up to my, you basically got to get up to my level. Also, that when it comes with a price and leadership comes with a price, and I can't be the nice guy. Because basically he feels as if you can't take this pressure from me, how you gonna take it from an opponent? Now we're on episode 8 of The Last Dance, and now it's excuse me, in the second round of the 1998 NBA playoffs, where the Bulls are taking on the Charlotte Hornets. BJ Armstrong is facing his old team in a Hornets uniform. So, BJ is motivated to want to stun his old team. And take care of business against Charlotte in game one.
In Chicago.
Okay, a lot of Bulls fans are calling their shots, saying that the Bulls are going to blow them out, that they're going to sweep. Okay, now they're on to game two of this series, and BJ Armstrong getting more time than usual. And BJ Armstrong balls out in game two against the Bulls. And he was on fire that game. He was on fire. That man was just determined to, you know, EJ, was just so hot on fire, and he was just so excited to, beat the Bulls that he was just trash talking to the Bulls bench, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson. And I definitely think that Armstrong won some payback for them for getting rid of him. So he went to his old house in game two and beat the Bulls, and Michael Jordan was definitely ticked off. But you know what? In some ways, Jordan was kind of getting the taste of his own medicine because he talked trash to a lot of people over the years. So, as the old saying goes, you gonna dish it out, you gotta take it. You can't sit up and just, think you can talk crap to everybody and then you don't think nobody ever talk crap to you. As my mom used to say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay, so tonight is gonna delve into Michael's well into Michael's comeback. Also, you know, we're gonna finally find out the details of the now infamous fight between Jordan and Steve Stewart. All we know is that Jordan punched Steve Kerr in the face back in what, about 95, 96 during practice, but we never got the full story. So we're gonna get the full story here tonight, and we're gonna get it here in this episode. Okay, so let me know your thoughts on episode 7 or just this whole documentary series so far. What are y'all thoughts? Leave them here in the chat. And BJ Armstrong, definitely motivated Michael Jordan to really play at a higher level in this series after he not embarrassed him, but like I said, Jordan's in some ways is getting his own getting a taste of his own medicine for a lot of trash talking he did. Now they're talking about the LeBradford Smith game, game between the Bulls and the Wizards back in the 92-93 season, where LeBradford Smith scored 30 points on Michael Jordan in Chicago. And LeBradford Smith just balled out. In Chicago. And then after the game, LeBradford Smith tells Michael Jordan, "Nice game, Mike." So that ticked off Michael Jordan. So he decided to embarrass him the next night in Washington. And he puts up 30. Okay, now he feels like that, BJ only was talking trash to him because, the team was winning. But like I said, I think BJ Armstrong was kind of giving to Michael what Michael had given to him for years when they were teammates. That was just so. Hey, that was BJ Armstrong shining moment. Like, hey, I beat Michael Jordan in his house, and I got to talk trash to him, and he took full advantage of it. Okay, and Michael Jordan goes off and to take the series in 5 from the Charlotte Hornets. Now they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals to Pacers team. Okay, now they're flashing back to. So at first, Major League Baseball was going to try to start the season with replacement players, but that didn't work, and that was a very bad idea. And they asked Jordan to cross the picket line. He said no, that he was not going to play in replacement games during the strike. So he left the Chicago White Sox camp at that time. And BJ Armstrong, recalls Michael Jordan calling him, to go to practice was. So at first they meet to have breakfast. So then they decide to go to the practice facility. He decides that Michael Jordan should come with him just to say hello so everybody can see him. And once they, got inside, BJ started, talking trash to Jordan, saying that, well, you've been out of the game so long, you can't play anymore. I kick your ass right now. So Michael, well, first I think, and BJ meant it as a joke, but Michael took it serious and said, "Okay, let's go." And he played a one-on-one game, and a lot of his, you know, teammates started to feel there was a different energy in the air going on. They started to think that maybe Michael Jordan will come back to the NBA and come back to the Bulls. And the speculations went on for a long time. A lot of people were hoping, having their fingers crossed, hoping that Michael Jordan would make that return back to the NBA. And now, um, Jordan's agent is talking about how they wrote the press release to announce his return to the NBA. And there were four versions of it, but none of them worked for Jordan. So, Falk told him he write one. So he gave him a pen and paper and just wrote simply, "I'm back." And, came back to the NBA. And a lot of Bulls fans as well as NBA fans were very happy to see Michael return to the NBA. And a lot of people felt with Michael Jordan returning to the Bulls that the Bulls would be championship contenders again, even that year, even though Michael came back basically close to the end of the season. People still felt any team with Michael Jordan on it is definitely a championship contender. But also you had, the young Orlando Magic at the time with Shaq and Penny, who were just tearing through the East at that time. Excuse me. And a lot of people thought they were huge favorites to win it all that year. .500 at 34 and 31. And the Bulls definitely struggled a lot through most, because given that toughness, that rebounding, that defense. I tell a lot of people, if the Bulls would have played the Rockets in that 95 NBA Finals, Bulls wouldn't have beat them. Because of that. They did not have that defense or that rebounding to, contain Hakeem Olajuwon. They didn't have it. So I definitely think the Rockets would have beat the Bulls in 95. That's why I don't get why a lot of people still harp on how, the Bulls, they would have won 8 in a row. They would have won 8 in a row. No, they wouldn't have. Like I said, without a big man for the Bulls, man, the Bulls would have gotten abused on the inside. Agree with me with that? You could definitely don't think the Bulls would have won 8 in a row. Okay, and they're showing Scotty just being so frustrated, he just threw the chair. And once Michael announced his return, players like Steve Kerr believed that they could, win another championship or two again. And Michael is definitely committed now more than ever to get back to his old form. And now they're going through Michael Jordan's first game back in the NBA against the Indiana Pacers. At Market Square Arena. Okay, now on this documentary so far, or what's your thoughts on these 2 episodes so far? And of course, Michael was nervous because that been what? Well, definitely felt a lot of. Now, let me rephrase it. Michael was definitely nervous. He was definitely, definitely very emotional because that would be not there to see him play. Plus, also, it had been months since he had picked up, since he had played in a game. And they're showing all the scalpers outside selling their scalping tickets at the time. And those were very hot items in Indianapolis. And dude said he was offered 2 G's for those tickets at the time. I don't know. He said he didn't want to give it up. If I was him, I don't know. I mean, would have had to entertain that. 2 G's? Shoot, with 2 G's, you would still have opportunities to see Michael Jordan play. All you gotta do is just put that money to the side. So I think I would have sold those tickets for $2,000. That's a good question for the chat. If you were seeing Michael Jordan's first game back in 95 and somebody offered you $2,000 for your tickets, would you have sold them or you would have kept them? definitely want to see your comments in the chat on that. You know, would y'all have sold y'all ticket or would y'all have kept them? I'm definitely curious to know about that. Okay, you know the atmosphere in Market Square Arena in Indianapolis was definitely electric, as they were happy to see Michael Jordan back on the court once again. Now, Michael Jordan struggled in that first game. Matter of fact, he was 0 for 6 in the first half. You know, his shot kept on getting blocked a couple of times by Rick Smits, excuse me. He finished with 18 points, but he definitely struggled that night. And also, he came back wearing 45, the same number he wore when he was playing baseball. He didn't want to wear 23. Now they're showing his 55-point game against the New York Knicks, and a whole bunch of celebrities were in the Garden to take in that game. He definitely did not disappoint them, as he scored scored 55 points in the Garden. And man, Michael just balled out against the Knicks. Okay, and they're talking to Patrick Ewing about that game. Basically saying how, after the layoff, he had one of his best games in the Garden. He had that night. Okay, now they're showing Jordan with the ball in his hands in the final seconds of the game, and he throws it to Bill Wellington for the dunk. And the Bulls, end up winning that game on the road behind Michael's 55 points. Like I said, win the championship, even though Michael was a little bit rusty. And now on to the 1995 second round series against the Orlando Magic, as the Magic won game one in a close one, as Nick Anderson got steal from Jordan in the final minutes of the game. And after that, Nick Anderson told, Orlando reporters that 45 ain't the same as 23. And Horace Grant knew that was the wrong move to, to say that about Michael Jordan, to say that about Michael Jordan, knowing his days from playing with him. And so Michael Jordan decided to go back to 23. That he didn't feel natural with 45. He wanted to just regain that feeling he had when he wore 23. And Michael Jordan went off in game two. He definitely went off, and he definitely, won. As the Bulls won Game 2 to tie the series, heading back to Chicago. And then, and actually looking back on it, that was a good series, that Magic and Bulls. And the Magic was split in Chicago. Then win again at home in Game 5 to take the 3-2 lead. So now the Magic going to Chicago to close it out. And going into that game, Phil Jackson's game plan for the Bulls to defend the Magic was to not going to beat us, so let somebody else beat us. And in that Game 6, the person who beat him was Horace Grant. Of all people, he went back to, the house that he spent, a long period of time with and won 3 championships with. He ended up knocking off his old team. And, Shaq and the whole team, lifted him up on their shoulders and just carried him off like he was like he was Rocky. And that really motivated Michael for the next year, because he did not want to see that happen, especially on the floor of the United Center. you know and then Mike, instead of Michael taking the time off like he usually does, so Michael decides to go back to work the next day after that loss. Because that really ticked him off, and he felt he was obligated to himself, the fans, the organization, his teammates, and the city of Chicago to give him his best, to give them his best. So on this episode so far, oh yeah, so that man for the rest of the season, and you had Shaq and the rest of the team carrying him off the court on their shoulders. Oh yeah, the break is definitely going to be interesting. But you could just tell in that '95 season that you know it, it, especially basketball shape. Now conditioning, dieting. So the rustiness definitely caught up with him in the playoff games, especially the Orlando series. Y'all excuse me. All right. Okay, so now they're showing Michael Jordan while he was filming Space Jam at the time in August of '95 at the Warner Brothers Studios. Which is pretty interesting. Now, you know, he excuse me. Now, what I now sorry, y'all, a little technical issue. Lost my train of thought for a second. But what's interesting is while Jordan was shooting Space Jam, that Warner Brothers built him a facility right next to the studio. You know, weights, exercise machine. Man, that facility was laid out. That was like a mini, that was like a training facility, excuse me, that you would see for any NBA team. That was a nice facility, man. That's a nice facility right there. That he needed a facility to work out, so they built it for him. Like I said, it's a real nice facility. And my mistake, it wasn't next to the lot, but it was within the area of the studio lot. It was a dome, very professional. Man, that's a nice facility. And Tim Grover, Jordan's personal trainer, was out there with him throughout that whole time while he was filming the movie. Man, that I still can't get over how bad that facility was. So so Jordan would, work out on his breaks, and Tim Grover was working with Michael Jordan to, you know, work out his muscles so he could be back in basketball shape. And he spent 15 months, rebuilding his body for basketball again. That is real hard to adjust your body from one sport to another. And Jordan is recalling, inviting NBA players out to the facility in California for pickup games like Sean Bradley, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller. And man, looking at these games, those games do look like they were fun. And also had Dennis Rodman out there. Too bad nobody thought to, record these whole games so everybody could watch. Like that would have been a good like bonus feature for us for the Space Jam DVD. And we could have seen those pickup games in its entirety. I mean, we getting a nice sample, a nice sample size here, um, here in this documentary, but I just wish somebody would have had the footage in its entirety. Also, Chris Mullin was out there, BJ Armstrong. And BJ Armstrong says that, while he was watching the pickup games, that he was, was also watching everybody's moves and what they were doing. But man, that's a nice facility. It's like they were playing street ball in a facility. No refs, call your own fouls. Wow. Hey, court. Hey, they was playing pickup games to 9 or 10 at night. Okay, also had Jawan Howard there. Also, I think, Jordan was doing these pickup games to get himself to reestablish himself a rhythm again. Since he had been out of basketball for so long. So, I think he used these pickup games with Reggie Miller, Dennis Rodman, Patrick Ewing, Jawan Howard, and them to, get himself back into a rhythm again. Because that's another thing about basketball. That's another big factor with basketball is rhythm. Okay, and also in about 20 minutes, stay tuned for the Last Dance Part 7 and 8 live recap, as I will be going on with fellow YouTuber Jay Moore Reviews. As we recap The Last Dance, also, he gives his perspective, being a Chicago Bulls fan and what was it like at that time during that whole dynasty run in the 90s. So y'all stay tuned. The Last Dance parts 9 and 10. Definitely can't wait to see that. Okay, so now they're getting to the infamous exchange between Michael Jordan and Steve Kerr. Hey, so in practice, Phil Jackson has Steve Kerr guard Michael Jordan in a scrimmage game. And Steve Kerr got upset because Michael's team was beating him. And Phil tried to calm Steve Kerr down because he saw his aggression. And Phil started calling ticky tack fouls on Jordan. And he felt like Phil was protecting Kerr. Okay, and Steve, and Jordan turns around and punches Steve Kerr in the eye because Steve Kerr, popped Jordan in the chest. So so he turns around, hits him in the eye. So that's how the whole practice. So in my opinion, they both. And Phil Jackson basically was trying to tell him to calm down. That he had just lost it. In some ways, like, yeah, come on, you gonna do that to the smallest dude on the team? It's like, man, do that to the bruisers. So so later on, he and Steve Kerr talked it out and a pop, and they both apologized to each other. But it's finally good that we. So now we get to the Bulls 72-10 season, and starting off, they won their first 23 of 25 games. Wow. So they went on to make history at that time, eclipsing the 72 Lakers 69 win record. Then, as y'all know, the Warriors eclipsed their record in 2016 by winning 73 games. And y'all know how that ended up turning out for the Warriors. And ironically, Steve Kerr was the coach. Okay, so now, they're talking about their NBA finals with the Utah Jazz in 96. Now, some people argue that maybe Dennis Rodman should have gotten MVP of the finals because the defense he played. Oh, and sweeping them, not only sweeping them, but embarrassing them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Excuse me. Okay, and now Ahmad Rashad and Michael Jordan are recalling seeing George Carl at dinner, or the night before Game One of the finals, and he doesn't speak to neither one of them. So, Michael took George Karl not speaking to him at dinner as a personal slight. And Jordan, well, the Bulls definitely another point. A lot of people felt that Dennis Rodman should have been Finals MVP over Jordan in '96 because of the defense he played on Kemp. So yeah, so and Gary Payton, I gotta give Gary Payton his props, but not backing down from Jordan. You know, I do give him that. He didn't back down from Jordan. He you know, definitely competed against Jordan in that series, but they just didn't have enough. And also another reason why people feel Rodman should have gotten Finals MVP because you know, and Mike, Peyton in a lot of ways did make Jordan work in that series. Jordan did. I mean, Peyton did make Michael Jordan work a little bit in that series. It wasn't like, well, later on in the series that, Michael was just getting off easy. But yeah, Dennis Rodman was definitely a key factor in the Bulls winning that series against the Supersonics. Guys, excuse me for a second. Go get me something to drink. All right, I had to get some water, y'all. Okay, now they're showing game 6 of the '96 finals, which happened to take place on Father's Day. And definitely can see a lot of emotion going through Michael at getting into this game because his father was always there for the big moment. And this was his first time. This was the first time that his father wasn't there to be with him for this major moment. Yeah, a little thirsty, y'all. So, the Bulls went on to win their fourth NBA championship against the Seattle Supersonics in 6 games. And now it's back to the start of the 98 Eastern Conference Finals. And everyone's asking the question, with a loss to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, with a series lost to the Pacers in the Conference Finals that year, would that be the end of the Bulls dynasty? Man, these Sundays have flown by fast. We got 2 more episodes left of The Last Dance. We coming down to the nitty gritty. The final 2 episodes, 9 and 10, is going to detail the 98 Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers, and then the Bulls and the Jazz. I cannot wait to see these final 2 parts next week. The Last Dance coming up within the next 10 minutes. To the channel, welcome. Don't make it your last. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and click all so you don't miss any new videos or live streams from me. But I gotta get out of here, y'all. So till about 10 minutes, y'all have a good. If y'all not tuned into the recap, y'all have a good one. Love y'all to life. QC out. See y'all in about 10 minutes.